Good afternoon, everyone. It's past 12. I'm Khusi Pattanayak, and I might look like an odd element. I'll be talking about cultural sustainability in this session because everyone has been talking about language and its preservation. But in the umbrella term, I think we are with the same group talking about sustainability of culture, language, folklore. So I guess I fit into the scenario. At the outset, I would like to thank. At the outset, I would like to thank IFC, Professor Pattanayak, with whom I have known for quite a while, and he has been encouraging me in a lot of ways. Professor Handu, and of course the host and organizers, Doctors Chandrabhanu Pattanayak, and everyone else involved for the amazing hospitality and the encouragement. And of course, I came across a lot of new scholars whom I had probably seen or heard, but I've never met. So, just to speak about, I don't look like someone who would be, endorsing folklore or culture from any way. Definitely don't look like, but I have grown up amidst folklore and culture. I grew up in Shantiniketan, so that's where we all celebrate like flowers, trees, seasons, birds, just name it and we have celebrated it. And then I eventually moved on to JNU, where it's always a celebration of heterogeneity of culture. So before Holi, we will have Thabal Chumbi, which is a popular dance form of Manipur. And for every season there is some celebration taking place. And of course, right now I work in an organization which is called KIIT University as assistant professor, and KIT has a sister wing called KISS, Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences, where 25,000 tribal students are taught from kindergarten to post-graduation without any fees. Like free of cost, their accommodation, their studies and everything takes place. So obviously culture is something that I keep living every day, not just in an ivory tower or academic sessions, but generally around my surroundings. So I'll just quickly shift to the person I'll be talking about, Cornelia Fugels, when Santa fell to earth. So she is Cornelia, not very well known in India. So a brief description about her would be: she was born in 1958. So right now 55 or 56 years old. And one important thing about her is there are certain facts written over here, but otherwise one important element about her would be that she is one of the best-selling translated author in last 35 or 40 years, and she has been on New York bestseller list for like weeks together, and that's why she is pretty important generally to the literary world and world of celebrity, because she had been in Times list of 100 most influential people of the year for quite consecutive years. And of course, like every celebrity, she has got like a lot of trophies and awards and acknowledgements. This is like an old list. It's up till 2008. By now she has gone another 2 or dozens of awards. So this is what I'll be talking about when Santa fell to earth. This is the book cover and this is the DVD cover. The book was released in 2003 and the film came out in 2012, and so this is the DVD cover of the film. I'll start off by a quote, basically to tell the rough outline about the story. It takes place during Christmas season, and of course Santa comes down to earth, as the name suggests. Santa fell to earth, and how he recreates the magic of Christmas in a contemporary global scenario where everything is being commercialized and corporatized. And of course, like Prop would say, no hero can sustain all by himself, so he also has few aids from earth as well as from the heaven to carry on with the story. This is where I'll start off. This is a quote from the text. Nicholas Goodfellow, a Santa Claus by trade, didn't notice any of this. He lay fast asleep inside his caravan, snoring peacefully while Twinkle Star, his reindeer, pulled him through the clouds, high above the sleeping world, etc. So what's significant over here is Nicholas Goodfellow, the protagonist, is a Santa Claus by trade. So he's like a postman, like an LIC officer or a banker or something. It's his profession. It's not like he comes out of nowhere, it's not a voluntary act. It is something which he earns for his bread and butter. Oh, sorry. So, this is important because Cornelia is recreating the whole idea of culture. So, she gives a status to Santa by giving him a profession and probably acknowledging that it is actually a kind of livelihood one can rely upon, because this is the kind of Santas we probably come across in malls in big cities who actually earn their livelihood by dressing up like somebody. And of course, Nicholas Goodfellow, because that is his trade, defies all odds and moves around to spread across happiness to people. And he, like Cornelia, doesn't conform to developmental parameters and considers culture as storehouse of intelligible resources. And that's why, defying rough weather, Santa moves around in the December sky in his caravan with his companions who are elves and angels. Commercialization, as we all know, has generally been considered to be the nemesis of cultural development. And in the current global scenario, and just to bring a balance to that, in the contemporary global scenario, strategic planning is being adopted to condemn any kind of cultural abuse. And Nicholas Goodfellow is a representative of this preservation. And this preservation that we are talking about just doesn't happen only in the literary aspects. Amartya Sen also talks about it in his article Culture for Sustainable Development, where he says that cultural matters are integral parts of our lives we lead. If development can be seen as enhancement of our living standards, then efforts geared to development can hardly ignore the world of culture. So of course, I kept, this is an image from the book. I kept it because Cornelia herself is an illustrator and these illustrations are by her. So this is the protagonist, Nicholas Goodfellow, who happens to be the young guy, lean and thin. And this is the nemesis, Goblinch, who is fat and sturdy and looks like a Santa. So it kind of goes back to the old days stories where you are honest but poor and rich but dishonest. So it's kind of a pictorial implication that this is what globalization is doing to you, but this is what you should be, even in terms of health conditions and material prosperity and moral prosperity. Okay, of course we have been talking about culture, and it's not just Amartya Sen who talks about, there has been Taylor, Malinowski and all those people talking about culture in various forms. And culture of course is dynamic. And that's precisely why probably Merriam-Webster this year in 2014 declared the word culture as the word of the year. And according to the publishers, the word was buoyed by media coverage about celebrity culture, company culture, rap culture, dominating media and public conversations, and because of its dominance, the use profanity with the way the word was used, they have decided to make this the word of the year. And if culture is like everywhere with its tentacles spread around, so it cannot leave certain other elements like bioethics. Okay, that happens to be my area of research, so I just kind of go back to it. But, so this is a quotation from K. Amresh, who says that bioethical judgments are value-based in nature, and that based on blah blah blah, values are parts of culture and are dependent on and influenced by other parts of culture. So, indisputably, bioethics is culture dependent. And if bioethics is culture dependent, it's very difficult to be judgmental and on whether it is wrong to change the old patterns of Christmas celebration, to come back to my story, and if it was sensible to adopt latest technology to reach out to people during Christmas. because we know culture changes with time. So what is the best way to handle this change? There has been some readings on culture and sustainable development. Like one of the most common one is the report called Our Common Future, which was Butland report, also popularly known as. And they highlight two important aspects of culture. One is need, the other one is limitation. So you have to keep in mind the needs of a community and the limitations that's there to have that cultural exchange. So like the definition, which kind of underlines the idea that sustainable development usually focuses on the idea that the entire world functions as a system and seamlessly connects time and space. Of course, it's not completely true, but it kind of is an umbrella term hypothesis they use to like make things easier. So going by that, Nicholas Goodfellow happens to be a preserver of Christmas, which has its roots in the past and is intricately associated with our present and is the treasure house of human history and culture to which the future generations can turn to. And it is in this context, while speaking about cultural sustainability, that one of the characters in the story says that the villain kind of figure that we saw, the healthy Santa, he's trying to incorporate new technologies, and he's not in favor of fulfilling the wishes of poor children. So he says that we'll only cater to rich people, rich students, rich parents, so that we earn a lot of money. And there's a rhyme to it which I'll show you. And so this one of the characters, she says that un-Christmas-like behavior, annoying behavior towards parents, destruction of presents, loud and silly singing and dancing under a Christmas tree, illegal employment of Christmas elves, conspiring with angels, continuous disobedience towards great Christmas council. So there is a council to which they should abide by. This is the council. This is a snap from the film because I didn't have a picture from the book. So as you can see, the council consists of people from all races and color, just to show its global impact and effect. But what this character would like to suggest is that because the council has given on to commercialization to such a large extent that a majority of children and their wishes are not being fulfilled. So there is the new anthem has been incorporated with the new boss taking over, and this is where they talk about golden fist of money when profit pours like honey, and children don't have money, so the parents are our game. So it's like you start inducing the parents and encourage them to buy gifts for their children, which are expensive in nature. Okay. Now, what sustainable living would talk about, sustainable living and sustainable development, it just doesn't focus only on agriculture. It also speaks about minimizing our energy use and pollution so that the earth as a whole keeps moving on, and we can save some bits of our earth for the future generation. So, so when Goblinch, he decides to introduce no mobiles and things like that, which are pro-technology, the rest of the council tries to dissuade him from doing that. But of course, if you try and overseat Goblinch, the villain, he turns you into chocolates. So, which is again harmful because that's his modus operandi. If you have these huge chocolates, children cannot hold their temptation and they'll eat. So the more they consume, they would have Christmas doctors around who would hang over and cure them. So that's the idea that he's propagating. Anyway, to come out of the story, all that I'm trying to suggest is that it's not just happening in a literary sphere. It's when Cornelia writes this in 2003. In 2002, we have UN speaking about sustainable development of culture in the World Summit. And there was Rio 20, which also talks about integrating culture into development programs at global and national levels. And that apart, we have programs like Agenda 21 for Culture, which talks about culture and governance, culture and social inclusions, culture and human rights, culture and economy, and of course UGLCA, which is United Cities Local Government. They also talk about cultural development through various possible ways. And so all that I'm trying to project over here is that cultural development or concerns about culture is not just limited to an ivory tower discussions or to committee rooms. They are actually coming down to the mass subtly in entertainment ways which could be easily adoptable by people who are conscious of their roles as significant people or beings in a world where culture needs to be highlighted. Right, that's it. Thank you. I would like to just thank everyone for your patient hearing and the encouragement. And also I would like to say one line, thanks to all the student volunteers. They have been really good to all of us throughout. Thank you.